Hi everybody and welcome to Bangkok, where today we are going to be flying Thai Airways once again, but this time on their long-haul business class all the way to Frankfurt. Looking forward to this flight. Before, the check-in process and everything like that was a little bit chaotic. I tried explaining that I was business class and there was a little bit of a miscommunication, and I got sent to the economy part of the airport, and then once they realized what was going on, I had to walk all the way back across, which I don't mind getting my steps in, but it definitely made things a little bit more confusing and a little more stressful than they had to be here. It's a very separated airport in terms of what is where, so I was supposed to be somewhere completely different than I was since I was flying business class. Now I do have lounge access through my ticket to the Royal Silk Lounge here, and also through Priority Pass there's literally over a dozen lounges that I can access as well. But for now, I think I'll probably go to Royal Silk, check it out, and if I'm not digging it, then I can always check out something else. So I have been hanging out in the Thai lounge, and honestly, I think this lounge is pretty nice. It's giant, by far the biggest lounge that I've ever been to, and there's a lot of food offerings as well. There's some breakfast food out, some dessert food out. It is early in the morning, so I'm sure the offerings change as the day goes on. One thing that I think is particularly awesome is that there are machines that have a lot of ice cream in them. So I'm trying not to ruin my diet too much, but I did have a little thing of Haagen-Dazs, which was a great sweet treat to start the morning. I know that since Thai is in the Star Alliance, I could join a lounge that another Star Alliance partner operates, like Eva Air or something like that, but I think I'm just going to hang out here. It's fine enough. It's kind of weird because you don't really get a view over the tarmac. It's kind of just separated off from the terminal, but definitely still in the terminal, which is a little strange, but it's okay. It's still a nice lounge, nice food, quiet, which is always really appreciated. Overall, I quite liked the Bangkok airport. It felt completely massive, it felt modern, there were a lot of shops, a lot of restaurants, and I think that this would be a really good airport to spend a long time in case you had a long layover. Like many airports in Asia, the boarding gate was in a separate area compared to the rest of the terminal, where you had to go down some escalators and then you found your gate there. Overall, I thought this was a pretty fine system. I got used to it as I went along in this trip. I also quite like how a lot of these Asian airports have separate jet bridges for business class. It's not a big deal, but it does make it feel slightly more special. Getting all set to go now, and we were offered a pre-departure beverage. I chose to go with the butterfly pea juice, which was honestly really good. I know it's made from some kind of flower of some kind, but purple is my favorite color, and I thought that was really good. The views in different planes available to see on the taxi was really incredible. I really enjoyed this, especially since Thailand is a country that has no direct flights from the US, so everything felt a little bit different compared to what I'm used to. Now that we're taking off, I want to show you the menu for the flight. There were two meals that we had on this flight, a pretty big first meal and then a smaller second meal later on. I was overall very impressed by the food on this flight. We'll get into that more a little bit later. But this was actually the first flight in this trip in which I had a proper menu for, which was pretty surprising considering the amount of flights I was on, especially business class. So now that we are in the air from Bangkok, let's take a look at what's been provided for the flight. Looks like first we have some kind of mattress pad, blanket kind of thing, which is going to be nice, even though I'm not going to sleep too much on this flight. We have headphones, sanitized, so that's good to know. We have some slippers, purple, like I said, my favorite color. I might actually keep these. We have an amenity kit, which I will go over a little bit later. we have a pillow, and then we have a blanket. So pretty good amenities on this flight for what's been provided to us, as you would expect for a 12-hour flight. So it is now time to take a look at the amenity kit. This is a nice Jim Thompson bag. I like the design of it. Looks very Thai. The feel, the touch is nice. So let's zipper it up and see what we got inside. Alright, so first it looks like we have some socks. These are soft socks. I don't know how airline socks are always as comfortable as they are. We have some ear plugs and some toothpaste. We have, looks like a shoehorn and an eye mask with that same design that was on the bag. Looks like we have a toothbrush, some lotions, and yeah, that's going to be what sets us up for this flight. I think this is a very good amenity kit.
This meal service was massive, and it all started with some nuts and a amuse-bouche, and then we went to some starters, which had some duck salad and some prawn salad that had Thai dressing. I thought this was actually particularly good with the bread. Then after that, for the main course, I ended up having some spicy tiger prawns with red curry. I thought this was fantastic. It was spicy, and it tasted really, really good. The vegetables on the side were good as well. And then after that main course, there was some fruit and some cheese, which was appreciated. And then after that, there was a proper dessert, which was just a lot of food. The amount of food on this flight was truly massive, and this was just the first meal.
So we are a couple of hours into the flight now, and the first meal service has concluded. Overall, I thought that food was really good. The spice levels were on point, though I do have a high spice tolerance, so your mileage may vary. And I actually think that the amount of food was also pretty good. I feel that a lot of the time on flights, the amount of food that you get can just be overwhelming, and you can end up stuffed and just really kind of mess up your stomach. And I don't feel that this amount of food will do it, although it was a lot. But we do have a second meal service that's going to be slightly smaller, about 2 hours before landing. And for now, I think I'm just going to relax a little bit, watch some YouTube videos that I downloaded to my laptop, and yeah.
We are now approaching Delhi, so let's take a look at the in-flight entertainment that we have on our flight. So it's a pretty big screen, pretty clear as well, but not as clear as some of the other ones that I've seen on this trip so far. So this is looking like a pretty decent bunch of movies here. Inside Out 2, Indiana Jones, a lot of recognizable movies here, Mad Max, Monsters Inc. So this seems like a pretty impressive list of movies. This is, I'd say, a very good list. So this map is pretty good. It gives you a lot of the information that you'd be looking for, your altitude, your speed, the time, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty standard entertainment system. I wouldn't say it's great, I wouldn't say it's terrible, but I'd say it's pretty much all that you need. This bed in lie-flat mode is pretty comfortable, to be honest with you. I think that if anything, it's maybe a little bit tight in the space, like horizontally, based on the other flights that I've been on in business class on this trip and in the past. But I could certainly see myself getting a good night of sleep in this seat. Blanket's nice, pillow's nice, very spacious for my feet, and yeah, I think this is overall a very solid business class seat with a good amount of privacy as well. Most Western airlines do not fly over Turkmenistan and Afghanistan especially, but this flight did, and the views were just incredible. I want to show some clips of that because these are views that I've never had on a plane before, and who knows when I'll have the opportunity to see this again.
These views have been out of this world. So we are flying over Turkmenistan now, and I wanted to give a little overview of the seat since I have not done that yet. Here we have the foot compartment where I currently have my blanket, a little shoe area down there where I also have slippers for when I go to the bathroom. Over here to the left we have the safety information, little storage compartment right here that I just kind of put in some of the random things that I've gathered throughout the flight. The tray table comes from right here on the left side as well, and also to my left we have all of the seat controls, a remote for the in-flight entertainment, and a big table that has enough room to store all of my stuff. I really think that this seat is overall pretty good, and I'm definitely happy with it, and this storage over to the right is also nice. I don't think this is maybe designated for storage, but at least not for bags. But it's good just to throw some of the mattress covers and stuff that I'm not really using. The service on this flight has really stood out even from other flights. I've taken a business class on this trip. I think that the crew is excellent. They've really shown a lot of care and a lot of attention. They handed out chocolate bars a little bit earlier, and then when I ate mine, pretty much right away, they immediately offered me another one. And when I went to the bathroom and I got out of the bathroom, they offered me a selection of fresh fruit they had in the basket up there. It's those kind of little things that really, I think, make all the difference when you're flying in business class. In general, the views on this flight have been crazy, but here, flying above Turkmenistan, it's a little bit cloudy, or quite a bit cloudy, and it's a little bit hard to see, which is a shame. Turkmenistan is probably one of the countries that I've been the most interested in for a long time, and this is my first time ever flying above the country. Maybe I really will have to make a trip to visit this mysterious country one day and see what it has to offer.
For the second meal appetizers, we had some bread, some Thai-style tuna, and some beef and honey-roasted sweet potato. This was all pretty good. And then for the main course that I had some chicken breast with some tomato and black olive sauce. This I was a little bit more mixed on. It was okay, but not great in my opinion. And then for my dessert, I had the triple mousse here with raspberry jelly, which was excellent and maybe the best food I had on the whole flight.
The second meal service just wrapped up, and the portion was pretty much exactly the kind of portion that I like getting on a flight. It was a good amount of food, but not too much. Definitely less than the first meal that we had. But I think the food overall tasted a little bit worse. The chicken was kind of tough and fatty.
And pretty much right after that, it was time to descend into a very cold night here in Germany, a very wet night. But the views were pretty nice going in. Honestly, this is one of the nicer approaches that I had during this trip. I booked this flight on the same ticket as my flight out of Frankfurt, but if you were to book this flight by itself, the way I did, transferred from Chase to Air Canada, it would be 60,000 points, which is excellent value for such an amazing flight in business class.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Frankfurt. That was an excellent flight on Thai today, and I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to be able to try it out. Now tomorrow I have a very exciting flight, maybe the flight I was most excited for on this entire trip, except for the island hopper, and I'm excited to take you all with me then. But for now, this video is going to come to a close. I'll see you all for my next video, and have a good night.